Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of OTC Markets, we are very pleased you've joined us for the Precious Metals and Critical Minerals Conference. Our next presentation of the day is from DLP Resources. Please note you may submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings by clicking Book a Meeting in the top toolbar. At this point, I am very pleased to welcome Ian Gendel, President and Chief Executive Officer of DLP Resources, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol DLPRF and on TSXV under the symbol DLP. Welcome, Ian.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction. Welcome, everyone. Today, the talk I'm going to be giving is discovering the next copper molybdenum porphyry giant in southwestern Peru, advancing to a preliminary economic assessment on the project Aurora. Just before we start, there's some forward-looking statements which I may be making through the presentation, so there's a cautionary note on this. Before we start, also regarding the team of DLP, I'm a geologist by training. I've been involved in exploration programs in various parts of South America, South Africa, and North America in various times. Worked for various companies, including Genco, Blitten, Anglo American, Antofagasta, and OceanaGold, and was responsible for leading the team that made the porphyry copper discoveries in Ecuador in the mid-90s, one of which, the Mirador project, was taken over by Corriente Resources and sold to CRC Tonguan Investment for $679 million in 2010. And another project which you may recognize is Warintza, which is now with Solaris, and that was part of those discoveries in those mid-90s. Other members of the team: Bill Bennett is the chairman, Scott Davis, CFO, Robin Sudo. We're a small team in Peru as well. We have 2 geologists and 4 technicians. So moving on to the location of the project of Aurora. Aurora is located in the southern part of Peru. It's about 60 kilometers north of Cusco. It's at an elevation of 3,000 to 2,000 meters. And we currently working on an option of 400 hectares. And surrounding that, we own 12,100 hectares. We have full road access to the property via paved and unpaved roads. Give you a little bit of a history of the project. The project was first looked at and drilled by Bear Creek led by David Lowell at that time in 2001. They were principally looking for copper oxides and drilled some shallow holes, 5 shallow holes into the property, average depth of about 251 meters. That was followed up by Venner Resources in 2005. They drilled another 7 holes into the property for an average depth of about 337 meters on each. And then Focus Ventures had the property in 2015, where Dawu had an option on the property and had submitted a permit to drill 30 holes, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So the property went back to the owner. I first visited the project in 2015 and really liked the property, liked what I saw on the ground, realized there was a lot more potential at depth on this property, and long story short, I picked it up with DLP in 2021 and we started drilling in 2022. We've been drilling since 2022 all the way through to now, and to date we've drilled just over 22,000 meters of drilling. And at the end of 2024, we got an inferred resource out on the property of 1.05 billion tons, inferred maiden resource on that, at 0.44% copper equivalent, at 2.2% copper, 0.05% molybdenum, and 2.4 grams per ton of silver. We're currently moving towards a preliminary economic assessment, which should be completed by the end of January, and we should get everything out by mid-February. So that's the timeline up until February, March of next year. Another slide just showing the location of the Aurora project. It's in a Miocene belt that extends from Argentina all the way through to Bolivia into southern part of Peru, where we see Aurora located. It's in an underexplored belt in Peru. It's north of the Las Bambas porphyry copper project, a porphyry copper mine, and within an area where we find a lot of the major porphyry copper deposits in Peru. There's a lot more potential for further discoveries in this belt, and that's the reason for picking up that 12,500 hectares in that area. All the holes that we've drilled to date have intersected mineralization. We've drilled 27 holes into the property. Regarding infrastructure, we about 76 kilometers to a rail terminal that leads all the way down to the Matarani port, where a lot of the concentrate gets shipped to from Las Bambas and Constancia mines in the central part of in this area. It generally gets transported by trucks through to the rail line and then shipped all the way to Matarani. So we're well located in terms of infrastructure that's currently within that southern part of Peru, and road access from the train terminal to project is about 124 kilometers. So the key aspects of Aurora, it's from the first slide that you saw. This project is within a mountain that's exposed all the way from 3,000 meters down to 2,000 meters. The deposit is sitting easily accessible for open pit mining, and the strip ratio in order to get the mineral out from Aurora is less than 1:1. It's a world-class deposit size, very continuous mineralized intercepts throughout the drilling we've done to date, and consistent and very good recoveries of all three metals, copper, molybdenum, and silver. This is just another view of the geological model and proposed pit. This came out in the inferred resource that we got out in February of 2025, showing the pit outline and the drill holes that we currently have into the deposit. To the left, we have the geological model for this. We have a moly and copper porphyries, a deep porphyry that's associated with the deposit, some breccias that are associated with the upper part of the deposit, and essentially all holes drilled through the deposit to date have intersected mineralization. The deepest hole we've drilled is 1,180 meters, and we're still in very good molybdenum mineralization at depth. This is a section through the deposit showing the topography in relation to the mineralization. As we can see, we have a topography that's very favorable for easy access to the mineralization. We have 3,000 meters at the top here, going down to 1,900 meters at the bottom. The greens, oranges, and purples are all copper equivalent grades that are exposed at surface and continue to depth. This is a very high grade. The purple zone at depth here is a very high grade molybdenum intervals that we've intersected in the holes, and the grades of molybdenum are 0.05 to 0.1 or 0.2% at depth in this area. So we used a cutoff of 575 for that inferred resource, and as mentioned, that was 1 billion tons at 0.44% copper equivalent. There's a significant amount of silver associated with this as well, and in total, the 10 billion pounds of copper equivalent, we have 4.65 million pounds of copper, 1.1 billion pounds of molybdenum, and 80 million ounces of silver with that resource. So a little bit about the economics of this. When we got the inferred resource out, we looked at some changes in the cutoff grades, NSRs for the deposit. We increased it to 675 per ton, and we saw very little change in their overall resource on that. In fact, less than 1% impact on the resource. We looked at the molybdenum value, molybdenum price as well in terms of affecting the economics. We used $20 a pound for molybdenum for the inferred resource that we put out. We cut that down to $10 a pound, and from this graph at the bottom, then the revenue factor, we saw very little change. In fact, there's less than 10% impact on that revenue factor. Ideally, we'd like to be at about 0.6 to 0.55% revenue factor, giving us a 45% margin. And as you can see from the strip ratio here and the revenue factor, there's very little change in dropping the molybdenum price and effect on that revenue factor. So the strip ratio is less than 1 and very favorable for further development should this go to mine stage. These are some sections through the deposit indicating the spread of mineralization through the deposit. We see the copper. The copper is the top end of the deposit. We see a lot more copper at the top end. We see a lot more molybdenum as we move into the deeper parts of the system. So we have about 500 meters where we find more copper than moly, and then we have another 500 meter plus where we have more molybdenum than copper. The scale of here is 600 meters, so we have about 1,200 meters of mineralization and still open at depth and still in open in all directions as well. This is the plan view of the drilling that's been done. We have about 1.5 kilometers from where my arrow is showing all the way to the southeastern part. Our more recent hole 24 was drilled in the southeastern area. We're still in mineralization at the end of that hole at 900 plus meters. And we're still open to the southwest. This was the first hole we drilled of 2025. We're still open in this direction as well, and we're still open to the northwest as well. So there's still a lot of drilling to be done on the property, and we foresee an area of at least 1.5 kilometers to about 1.7 kilometers of mineralization as we continue drilling through it. So this is another section through that. This is the current pit shell outline that was in place for the maiden resource, inferred resource that we got out. This is the drilling and the more recent drilling of A25024 that was drilled beyond the pit outline as well, and we're still in very good mineralization at depth there. So we hope to get this will update our inferred resource and possibly get into some indicated resource as well by the end of January. And this will be included into the PEA. Another important aspect for the project is the community out of which we work. We work out of the community called Parabamba. We have very strong support with the community in that area. And over the time we've been operating there, we've employed pretty much the whole village on various aspects of the property. We've been involved in various initiatives with the community, from medical to school to sporting activities and building them a synthetic soccer field. And we have a community agreement in place, which is worked very well for both them and ourselves. And we continue to keep that relationship going and they have a strong support for moving this project forward. I'm not going to dwell too much on this, on the molybdenum part of Aurora, but I think it is important to highlight that molybdenum is an important metal for the strengthening of steel. It's used in a lot of the manufacture of steel products and coming out of Europe. It's also used in the green energy sector right now, and Peru is one of the principal producers of molybdenum in the world outside of China. Should also mention that the amount of molybdenum that we have in Aurora is close to 500,000 tons of molybdenum, and if this does go to development of a mine at any point, we'll add considerable molybdenum to the reserves of Peru. Peru is also one of the largest copper producers, and outside of Chile, the second largest copper producer in South America and the third in the world. So where does Aurora sit in relation to some of the copper molybdenum deposits in the world? This graph shows the positions of the porphyry copper deposits in South America. A lot of them being principally copper producers with byproduct molybdenum, very lower grade molybdenum. And then we have the molybdenum deposits in the world that are essentially sitting on this left axis here that are moly only and very little copper at all. The two deposits that are of importance in North America are held by Freeport, and they're in Colorado, Henderson and Climax. And Aurora sits in a very unique position where we have both copper and molybdenum, and very high grades of molybdenum at that as well. We're probably sitting up at similar grades of molybdenum to the ones in Climax and Henderson. So we're well positioned to have two critical metals within Aurora with an incredible byproduct of silver associated with that. So the capital structure of DLP, we currently have 153.484 million shares out there. We have a market cap of around about 42 million, and we're currently trading in the up about 28 to 31 cents. So this is just showing the Aurora in relation to some of the other projects out there and the valuation of where we currently are. We believe of what we have currently identified at Aurora, we're really undervalued compared to some of the other projects out there. And this is just a comparison with some of those. We're trading at about $0.007 a pound, and the sector average right now is $0.029 a pound. Once again, just showing a typical project valuation profile. Aurora, in terms of pricing and where we are, we're sitting down around about at about 21 US cents. And we should be moving up this graph and up the slope as you move closer to the PEA. Ideally, we feel we should be trading between the $60 to $1 range right now. But as I said, we should be seeing that as we get the PEA out in the first quarter of 2026. So just a summary of the Aurora project. I think this is This is a world-class size deposit. It's homogeneous with copper, molybdenum, and a significant amount of silver through that, between 2 and 5 grams. We've got that inferred resource out. We're moving towards preliminary economic assessment by the first quarter of next year, hopefully by the early February. And we're currently looking at strategic partner to progress this to the next stage. We have another project called Esperanza in the southern part of Peru. It's in a very good location. It's just 35 kilometers southeast southeast of the Cerro Verde mine. This is an early stage project, has a lot of potential for both copper and moly discovery on it. And we've recently completed a geophysical survey. This is the Greenfields project, and we'll be moving this forward in early 2026. Thank you very much. That's all I had. I'll open it up for questions if there's any questions. I see I do have some questions come in. So I have a question from Larry. I think the copper and the molybdenum markets, as we're looking forward, are very good. We see there's going to be a demand for moly as we move through the green energy transition as well. So I think the growth of molybdenum is expected to grow between 3 and 5% over the next 10 years. I have another question that's come in regarding Derek White stepping down. Derek White stepping down as chairman of the board doesn't change our strategy. We committed to moving DLP through to the next stage of development with a strategic partner, and in terms of the next capital markets financing that could be done, I don't think that affects it at all. This has been discussed over time, and Derek's position at that time was temporary for us, and he's decided to step down. So regarding strategic partners, we have had various discussions with groups, and we currently over the past year and a half we've been entertaining field visits to the project. Yeah, so I have a question on the financing that we did earlier this year in June of this year, and the budget for the drill program. So the drill program funding was within that 5.5 million US raise that we did. This will take us all the way through feasibility. Our cost per meter for drilling is 250 meter for drilling, and everything in is about $320 to $315 a meter, and that's all included within the proposed 6,000 meters that we put forward for the program for 2025. You have a question regarding the community agreement that we have in place and timeline for moving this forward to the next stage. I think the important part of any permitting for the next stage of work depends on the community renewal of the agreement with the community moving into 2026 and 27 and beyond. Is very feasible. We don't see any issues on that at all, and this is something that would be needed for any additional permitting for moving the project forward for additional drilling to another, say, 50,000 meters of drilling and plus. So we don't see any issues with getting the community agreement to assist with that permitting process. So, question regarding the PEA and equity financing, moving it forward for non-dilution. We would consider all options for further funding of the project. So there's that would include strategic coming in to finance the project. Moving onwards, we'd consider as well any royalty agreements that could be attached to that. I think question here regarding investors in DLP. I think currently the DLP stock is really undervalued. I think this is an ideal time for investors to come in. We know that with a good PEA coming out in late January, early February, we believe there'll be quite an uptick on the stock. But having said that, there's as in anything, there's always a risk, but we believe there's strong support for the project with this PEA moving it to the next level of pre-feasibility and feasibility stage. I have one question regarding Esperanza. The Esperanza geophysics program has just been completed. We're hoping to have results from that made public over the next 3 weeks, and we'll prepare that project for permitting and further drilling as we move through in 2026. Okay, just looking at some of the questions. Regarding Chile and Peru and the social political challenges affecting mining. I think Peru is a mining country. We see a strong support for resource development within Peru. We do know there's elections coming up next year in Peru. We don't foresee any major changes regarding permitting, processing of applications at all, and we don't see a government coming in that's going to be opposed or add in any further restrictions on mining within Peru. I believe Peru is an excellent country to work out of. It has a strong support from the government for the resource sector. It has a GDP that relies strongly on the resource sector as well, and it's one of the more stable countries within South America. I think that's pretty much it. I have a question regarding intervals on the copper equivalent. Regarding the copper equivalent and a higher grade starter pit, there's as shown in the slides, I think there's a strong possibility that we'll have scheduled mining in that open pit scenario. We have very favorable topography to assist us with that, and we'll be able to access various grades of mineralization on that slope as you move to opening up that pit. So yes, I think we'll have higher grade copper. There is a little bit of a weak enrichment at the top end of the mineralized zone. So there's about a a 0.3 to about a 0.7% copper at that top end. So that will add considerably to the starter pit for us. Why is the stock so undervalued today? I think for one reason, not many people know about DLP and what we have in Peru. We're trying to do a lot more marketing on this. And one of the factors as well is also this is a 45% copper project with 45% molybdenum. And maybe molybdenum is one of those products that people don't understand a lot about as well. So we're undervalued in that sense, but both copper prices and molybdenum prices are pretty high. So we believe we should be seeing DLP stock moving higher over the near term. Thank you very much. Thanks to everyone. That's all I have, and appreciate the invite today. Thank you.